Welcome back, guys. We did really well last week. I went 10-1 on picks, and I made over 7 units. If you don't know what a unit is, if you were to bet $10, if you consider a typical bet of yours $10, then 1 unit for you would be $10. So last week I would have made $70 if your unit was $10. So basically, you pick your units, and you can follow along with my bets. In this video, I'm going to have a full card breakdown, and then my final bets will be at the end of the video. In the description, I have timestamps for each fight, and let's have another good week. Alright, first fight of the night, we got Diana Belbiṭă versus Hannah Goldy. Belbiṭă's 0-2 in the UFC. She has size and power in this fight. She's pretty durable, and I think she's better in the clinch, while Goldy, she's technically 0-1 in the UFC, but she won her Contender Series, so if you count that, she would be 1-1 in the UFC. She's been out of the octagon for 2 years, and she's not very good at striking, but I think she's better on the ground here, and she could get a submission. Belbiṭă is most all of her losses. She's 13-6. Of her 6 losses, most of them are by submission, so definitely not very good on the ground. And if Goldy has any good jiu-jitsu, she's going to submit Belbiṭă. I'm not too familiar with both these fighters. They're both new in the UFC, and they're fighting for a contract here. If one of them, whoever loses, could potentially get booted out of the UFC. So Belbiṭă is the dog here. I think this fight is pretty close to a pick'em. I think they should be evenly matched betting wise, but for some reason Goldy is a very heavy favorite, and in that case I'm gonna go with Belbiṭă because I think there's definitely value on her. But I don't know, this fight could go either way. I'm gonna go Belbiṭă by decision. Alright, the second fight of the night, we got Sijara Eubanks versus Elise Reed. Elise Reed is making her UFC debut, and she's taking this fight on very short notice, and she's also moving up a weight class. So she's used to fighting at atom weight, and now she's fighting at straw weight versus Banks. Elise Reed struggles with grapplers, but she has very good striking, and she has nice combos with a nice jab. Eubanks, she's been known to fight at 135 bantamweight, but she's cutting down to flyweight here, 125, and she was known to not be able to make weight at 135, so I'm not quite sure how she's going to make weight at 125 now that she's cutting down a weight class. Eubanks is going to have a huge size advantage. She's going to be much stronger, and she's going to be a way better grappler. Elise Reed definitely struggles with grapplers, so I'm going to favor Eubanks in this spot, but for this fight, I'm going to wait till the weigh-ins because I want to see how Sijara Eubanks looks. If she has, I don't know, if I see anything goofy about her, I'm not going to bet her, but if she looks good at weigh-ins, she's a solid bet, so I'm going to go with Sijara Eubanks by decision, but let's wait for weigh-ins. Up next, we got Julio Arce versus Andre Ewell. Julio Arce is 16-4. Andre Ewell is 17-7. Andre Ewell and Julio are pretty much the same height, but Andre is going to have quite a bit of a reach advantage. In this fight, Ewell is going to obviously be the longer fighter. He's going to have a little bit faster hands, and both these guys are durable. They've never been finished, but the thing with Ewell is he slows down late in the fight and he gets tired, and that's part of him cutting so much weight. So Arce, he's a big favorite in this fight. I think the line should be a little bit closer, but Arce has also never been finished by strikes. He goes for grappling when he's in trouble on the feet, and he's a little bit better in grappling than Ewell. And Arce definitely will win the third round. He has a better gas tank than Andre Ewell, so in this fight, it's kind of a goofy spot because I don't think Arce should be a -200 favorite and Andre be this big of a dog, but it's one of those spots where I'm somewhat confident Arce is going to win this fight, but you never know with these UFC judges. They could be a split decision, go for Andre, and you lose a big amount of money because he's such a big favorite, but I think Arce will win a split decision. Alright, up next we have one of the most exciting fights of the night. We got Adrian Yanez versus Randy Costa. Yanez is 13-3, Costa's 6-1. Costa's got a pretty goofy fighting style. He's got awkward movement, very good striking combos, but he has some crazy knockouts on his resume. The thing with Costa is he's a first round or bust, so if he doesn't get that KO in the first round, he's going to lose the fight because he has no gas tank. He would have a gas tank, but his fighting style is he puts everything into each shot in that first round, and if he doesn't get that finish, he's pretty much exhausted. So, but Yanez is kind of the opposite. He's a pressure boxing style. He's a pressure boxing style, and he's a little bit more consistent as a fighter. I could see him breaking Costa throughout the fight, but I've noticed when fighters have both have crazy power, they start to respect each other. So I think Yanez will win by decision, but I don't know. Yanez could definitely win by knockout as well. So it's going to be an exciting fight, and I think the way to bet this is Costa by first round and then Yanez in a parlay. I wouldn't bet Yanez straight up or by knockout or submission, because Yanez is already a pretty big favorite, but I think he will win, and I think he's a good parlay piece. Costa, he's a first round or bust, so bet him by the first round. Otherwise, don't bet him at all. So I'm going to go with Yanez by decision. Got another great fight coming up between Nasruddin Imavov versus Ian Heinisch. Imavov's 9-3, Ian's 14-4. Imavov's going to have a slight physical advantage. He's a little bit taller and has a little bit more reach. Imavov's also better on the feet. He's got a slight edge in significant strikes thrown at 4.16, while Ian's at 3.67. And Imavov also takes less damage at 2.03, while Ian's at 3.02. However, Ian's a little bit better at grappling. He lands more takedowns, and he's a little bit more durable and better in the clinch. So I think this fight's pretty easy to break down. I think this fight's it's a coin flip. It's a close fight. It's kind of going to be, once again, in the judges' hands. I think whoever wins it's going to be by split decision, but in close fights, I usually tend to favor the grappler, because if a fighter controls another fighter on the ground, usually the guy on top usually gets the decision. So I think Ian's going to control the grappling here, and he's going to get more control time on top, and Imavov might edge him out in significant strikes on the feet, but I think Ian will look better in the judges' hands, and I think Ian will get the split decision here. Alright, we got the last fight of the prelims here. We got Puna Soriano versus Brendan Allen. In my opinion, this should be the co-main event of the evening. This could be a really exciting fight. Soriano's a hot prospect from Hawaii, and he could get a huge fight if he beats Brendan Allen here. He's like a mini Francis Ngannou. He's got arguably the most power in the middleweight division. He's a southpaw. He's got decent kicking. In high school, he was a state champion wrestler, so he's a pretty good grappler. Allen, on the other hand, he's not too good on the feet. He gets hit more than he hits other people, so he has bad defense. He trains at Duke Rufus Academy here in Milwaukee, so he's decent jiu-jitsu. But honestly, I think this is a bad matchup for Allen. I think Soriano, he's going to touch Allen too many times and find that knockout. I have Puna Soriano knocking out Brendan Allen in the second round. If that doesn't happen, I'm pretty confident Puna Soriano is going to win. So I got Puna Soriano. Alright, we got Jordan Williams versus Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall is 6-3. Jordan Williams is 8-4. Williams has got a great chin, and he likes to get inside in the pocket and trade hooks, and uses durability to make the fight a brawl. He's a good wrestler. He's got good ground and pound, and he's a very balanced fighter. It's also to be noted that Williams has excellent cardio, and he kind of reminds me of like Nate Diaz. Mickey Gall, he's known to be the guy that beat CM Punk in CM Punk's only UFC fight. CM Punk was a professional or fake wrestler. Mickey Gall's supposed to be a jiu-jitsu guy, but he's not very good off his back. Gall's a pretty tall fighter, so he likes to stay at range and jab his opponents. To be honest, I think whoever wins this fight is going to be whoever takes the other guy down, and I see that being Williams because I think Williams is a better wrestler. Gall is not very good off of his back, like I said, so if it goes there, Williams has the potential to knock him out. It's also to be noted that Williams is diabetic, and this is his first fight at 170. He's naturally a 170er, but he used to fight at 185 and could barely make weight because he was too light. But yeah, if we don't see any problems at the weigh-ins with Williams, I think Williams is going to win this, and I'm pretty confident that he would do so. So I'm going to go with Jordan Williams by majority decision. Up next, we got Miranda Maverick versus Maycee Barber. Maverick is 11-2. Barber is 8-2. Maverick is a pretty good boxer. She's got very good combos, and she throws with lots of volume. As you can see, she averages 9.8 significant strikes per minute. That's crazy. I mean, Maycee Barber averages 5.21. That's still pretty good, but yeah, Miranda Maverick's fighting style is just out volume and throw more punches and stuff than her opponent. So she's very good. She's a very technical fighter, and she should have a better fight IQ than Maycee Barber, as Barber is a little bit younger. Barber's had some issues now that she's switching fight camp. She used to be at Duke Rufus's, and now she switched over to Team Alpha Male. Rufus Academy was more of a kickboxing jiu-jitsu. Alpha Male is more power boxing and wrestling, so they like to do ground and pound and just walk forward. That's a good fit for Barber, but I think there's too many questions for Maycee Barber. Like, do we really know if she's improved since her last fight or all that? Where Maverick, we kind of know what we're getting. She's going to throw volume. She's a little bit more technical. She's going to have better combos. I think Miranda Maverick should win a decision here. Alright, up next we got Darren Elkins versus Derek Minner. Elkins is 26-9, while Derek Minner is 26-11. This should be a very interesting fight, as both these guys are finishers. As you can see, Derek Minner wins 85% of his fights by submission. But what you can't see on this page is if he loses by submission also. So if he's better at jiu-jitsu than his opponent, he's usually going to win by submission. But if not, he's going to get submitted. Also, if it stays standing, Darren Elkins is much better on the feet. Derek Minner doesn't even really box really. He averages 0.6 strikes landed per minute. That's nothing. And he gets hit 3.02 strikes in a minute. So Darren Elkins is the opposite. He lands more than he gets hit. And I think Darren Elkins is also better on the ground. I honestly think Darren Elkins is going to submit Derek Minner in the second round. If you go back and look at their fight track history, Darren Elkins finishes a lot of his fights in the second round, and Derek Minner gets finished a lot in the second round. So I'm going to go with Darren Elkins by second round submission. Alright, up next we got Darren Elkins versus Derek Minner. Elkins is 26-9, while Derek Minner is 26-11. This should be a very interesting fight, as both these guys are finishers. As you can see, Derek Minner wins 85% of his fights by submission. But what you can't see on this page is if he loses by submission also. So if he's better at jiu-jitsu than his opponent, he's usually going to win by submission. But if not, he's going to get submitted. Also, if it stays standing, Darren Elkins is much better on the feet. Derek Minner doesn't even really box really. He averages 0.6 strikes landed per minute. That's nothing. And he gets hit 3.02 strikes in a minute. So Darren Elkins is the opposite. He lands more than he gets hit. And I think Darren Elkins is also better on the ground. I I honestly think Darren Elkins is going to submit Darrick Minner in the second round. If you go back and look at their fight track history, Darren Elkins finishes a lot of his fights in the second round, and Darrick Minner gets finished a lot in the second round. So I'm going to go with Darren Elkins by second round submission. Alright, our co-main event of the evening, we got Aspen Ladd versus Macy Chiasson. Aspen's 9-1, Macy's 8-1. Macy's 5'11", and she's got a 72-inch reach. Aspen Ladd's 5'6", she's got a 66-inch reach, so Macy's a lot bigger here. And she's going to be a little bit stronger as well. Aspen hasn't fought in 2 years as she had knee surgery. And Macy, her last opponent was Mary Ronal, who was Aspen's training partner and teammate. So both these girls got some beef together. And honestly, I'm pretty excited for this women's fight. Aspen has more. She's going to throw more volume on the feet, and Macy's going to have more power. So Macy is live for a quick knockout if she implements that game plan. But if she just wants to make this a long fight like most girls' fights do, I think Aspen's going to win because she is definitely the better grappler, and Macy's not very good at stopping takedowns. And Aspen could honestly box her on the feet and land more strikes. So I'm going to go with Aspen Ladd by decision. Alright, we got the main event of the evening. We got Cory the Sandman Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw. Cory Sandhagen's 14-2, Dillashaw is 17-4. Sandhagen's 5'11", Dillashaw's 5'6", and Sandhagen's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. As we know, TJ Dillashaw has been out for a while. He tested positive for steroids, and he was actually using performance-enhancing drugs. It wasn't just some fluky thing that you can't take. He was actually taking steroids, and as we know with fighters that lay off the steroids afterwards, they do not go well, and it breaks down their body. So there's an advantage there right off the bat for Cory. And if we look at the numbers, Cory's way better already on the feet. He averages 6.85 strikes. TJ Dillashaw only averages 5.37, and their defense is about the same. Grappling, TJ Dillashaw is going to have a slight edge there, but TJ Dillashaw, even when he was on steroids, he's been known to have a glass jaw, and I think being off this, it's going to make it even worse, and that is not good against Cory Sandhagen. He is got some of the craziest strikes and knees, and he just knocked out Frankie Edgar with a flying knee in the first round in his last fight, and he did a heel kick and knocked out Marlon Moraes. So I think Cory Sandhagen's going to be the future bantamweight champ, and I don't think he even should have fought TJ Dillashaw here. I think he should have fought for the belt earlier, but it's just going to add to his resume. TJ Dillashaw's a big-name fighter, and Cory Sandhagen's going to add another highlight knockout to his reel. So I got Cory Sandhagen by first-round knockout. Alright, the most important part of the video, my bets. I made all these bets listed on the screen earlier this week, and I plan on making a few more, so if you'd like to see them, you'd have to follow me on Twitter. It'll be in the description, and if you'd like to leave a tip, my Cash App and Venmo are also in the description. Basically, my bets here are based off of units, so if you see 2U, that means 2 units, and 1U means 1 unit. And a unit, if you don't know, is your basic betting amount. So if you'd like to bet with $10, 1 unit for you would be $10, 2 units for you then be $20. If you don't want to bet $10 as your standard unit, if that's too high for you, you could do $5 or even lower. If you do $5 as your unit, then 2 units for you would be $10. So for my first bet, I got Jordan Williams at -170 for 2 units. My second bet, I got Darren Elkins at +135 at 1 unit. My third bet, I got Puna Soriano at -115 for 1 unit. My fourth bet, I got Cory Sandhagen at -180 for 2 units. The line might have jumped up a little bit, but I'm pretty confident in him. And then my parlay, I got Cory Sandhagen and Kyler Phillips. So let's make some money this week. Up next, we got a pretty interesting bantamweight fight here. It's going to be very interesting to see. We got Kyler Phillips versus William Paiva. Phillips is 9-1. Paiva is 20-3. Paiva has taken some time off after his last fight between Zolga Zumagulov, and Paiva won that by a controversial decision. Honestly, I thought Zolga Zumagulov won that, but yeah, Paiva won, and he took some time off to improve, so we'll see if that works in his favor. Phillips, on the other hand, he's a very hot prospect right now. He opened up as a -150 favorite. Now he climbed all the way up to -300 favorite. I jumped on Phillips earlier this week. I really like this kid. In his last fight against Song Yadong, he destroyed him, and honestly, I picked Song Yadong to win that fight, and I couldn't have been more wrong, and I really regret picking Yadong that spot. But Phillips is very fast and explosive, and he has a really good jab, and the only way to beat Phillips is to chain wrestle him and bully him, and I don't think Paiva can do that. So I'm going to go with Kyler Phillips by knockout. And if we go to the stats here, we can see Paiva has really bad stand-up defense. So he gets hit more than he hits his opponent. And also, Kyler Phillips, if it goes to the mat, I mean, both of them are black belts in jiu-jitsu. And when we see that two guys are black belts or high level on the ground, usually it cancels out and it's a stand-up war. But if it does go to the ground, I'm going to lean towards Kyler. But yeah, I got Kyler Phillips by first round knockout.